Well, good evening and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. This is the big match preview on tonight's show. We are looking back at the fantastic late 1-0 win against West Bromwich Albion at the Valley on Tuesday. And, of course, ahead to Saturday's trip up to North Wales to take on Wrexham in the Championship. Joining me to look back and forward at those games. First up, top right, Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Yeah, living the dream, mate. All good. It's easy, this championship like, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, all you got to do is just keep playing until we score and then blow the final whistle and jobs are good. And that's the way we operate. And also, bottom of the screen there, in his Christmas jumper, of course, is Mark Newby. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good, mate, but I don't think my old heart can take many nights like that any much more. So if we could get it done before the 96th minute, it'd be much better for my health.
Yeah, 93rd minute next time, please, for Mark. So, yeah, on tonight's show, then we'll look back at the game against West Brom, where Sonny Carey bagged that last-minute winner. We will hear the commentary of the goal from Charlton TV. We're going to hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. And, of course, we will hear from the goal scorer himself, Sonny Kerry. And then in the second half of the show, we will refocus on Saturday's trip up to the racecourse. Andy Gilpin from the Fearless in Devotion pod is going to join us to give us the Wrexham point of view. And we'll hear from Jones once more as he assesses some of those injuries and looks ahead to the game up at the racecourse. Nath, just before we hear the goal, and we want to hear from everyone in the chat as well, by the way, because as you'd expect, there's a lot of very excited Charlton fans who want to talk about Tuesday's win. Joe said I was a bit worried seeing the team sheet on Tuesday. And for probably 70 minutes I was, but yet again Nathan proves why he's the manager and I could never be. This squad has no quits. Yeah, let us know your thoughts on that fantastic win on Tuesday night. Email us studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or you can add in a live comment. Nath, my word, the ginger genius, he's at it again. There's queues of Charlton fans' wives around the block waiting for their turn on to celebrate that late winner. Talk us through your emotions when that went in.
Oh, you got all the people's girlfriends. Mrs. Ploughs is really sneaking up, isn't she? She's getting doled up to the nines at the moment, thinking she's on the promise. But unbelievable, really. I think from the game itself, it was a bit of it lacked any real quality, really, from both sides. You had a couple of chances each way. Got given a gift to go 1-0 in at half time. We didn't take it, and it just seemed it was going to peter out. And obviously Ibby came on, and obviously he's been spoke about already about the impetus he had, and then the ginger genius just pops up again. It's just one of them things. But like anything, like when there's games that's going to be fine margins in this league, which we've been on the receiving end of, like Leicester to name one, and obviously Millwall the other. It's just, for a team that just keeps on going, you make your own luck sometimes. I really believe that. And the determination and just the sheer willingness to try and get something always pops up. So delighted for the 3 points. And it's just a bit, I never expected this start. I'll be completely honest, never expected to look at the table after 15 games and where we are. And I think I saw a stat earlier that I think we've got, is it something like 14 goals after 90 minutes so far this calendar year or something like that? I'm pretty sure I saw something on Twitter about that, which is insane. And we're about 4 goals clear of that for the next person. So just shows the sheer willingness to try and get something out of a game, which is obviously great. Obviously, it's not great for Mark's heart, obviously, and everyone else's heart. But I want it to continue. No offense, mate, but let's keep it going for the last minute ones.
Very much a sacrifice we're willing to make. Well, let's have a listen back to that special moment in SC7. This team just does not stop, do they? And that is why we keep getting moments like the one where Sonny Kerry bags the late winner against West Brom.
Yeah, that was excellent, actually. I think Fuller's introduction has added a level of tempo and a little bit of pace. And he's looked bright and lively since he's come on. And suddenly Campbell's come to life. Once we get him up in that final third with the ball at his feet, he hasn't had enough opportunity to do that.
Charlton corner on the Charlton left-hand side. In it comes a low one, headed clear by Grant. He picked up by Carey, and he almost got caught in possession, but he's made room for himself. Takes a shot, deflected, and it's gone in! Sonny Kerry! Deflected effort! Went through the keeper and into the back of the net. And in added time, Charlton take the lead.
Yeah, and
extraordinary.
And as good as Griffith has been, that's an error. It's not a big deflection, it's a slight deflection. He's got enough of his body behind it to make the save. And to be honest with you, you watch that cross come in from the corner and you think that's disappointing. It's the last minute of added on time. It doesn't beat the front man, but it pops out to probably our best player of the evening by some distance, Sonny Kerry, and he flicks it past his opponent, gets himself 2 or 3 yards, and we know he's got the strike in the locker. We've seen it already this evening, let alone this season. And he takes that chance, he has that long shot, and somehow he gets underneath Griffith and in the back of the net, and that is a huge moment. And it's turned what would have been 3 draws on and drop to 2 draws, and what is likely looking to 3 points and a massive bump.
There we go. Superb commentary on Charlton TV from Brownie and of course Terry and whoever was having the little cameo in the background there. A couple of people asking if it's Greg Stubley screaming. Isaac's asking if it was Nathan screaming. My guess is that it was our very own Sue Gallop pretending to be a lady again, as she did, because it was very, very high pitched. But that was some moment, Mark. I mean, we've been treated to a few special moments already this season. But 95th minute. It's even the way he teed it up with the bad corner as well, and you're thinking, oh no, that's it. You've given up now. We're not gonna get there. But Sonny Kerry, when he picks the ball up 25, 30 yards from goal, there's only one thing he's ever going to do, and that's going to shoot. And maybe you need a slice of luck, but actually, Sonny takes that chance and hits the shot with such venom, such power, that any little nick off anyone is going to confuse the goalkeeper, and that's exactly what happened. And I mean, those celebrations were just outrageous, so good. And man, this season, man, they just keep on giving, don't they?
Well, that's it. I mean, it was a game. The whole match was a match of certain moments where they could have scored. The guy where Kaminsky made the save, where if a guy had just squared it, Carl Grant had a tap into an empty net, the missed penalty. Sonny's shot, which their keeper made an amazing save from. James Bree going down, and I honestly thought that's a stretcher on for him. How he managed to get up and walk that off. And it's the last moments, and you're like, oh, the corner, you think, oh, you haven't even cleared the first man. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. And like Terry says, he's just nipped it past the on-rushing guy, couple of touches, and we know what a good clean striker of a ball he is. And when it's nesting in the back of a net, and it could have gone bubbled off, it could have come off the keeper, it could have come back into a melee and someone else finished it. But to see it hit in the back of the net, and to see 95% of that team and squad celebrating, and the manager on that side, is just the noise, the decibel levels just off the roof. So it was all about moments, that match, and we were on the right side of it. And to be honest, West Brom were neat, tidy, but they didn't impress me. It's pretty much like Swansea didn't really impress me for teams who have been in that league for so long. And what we do know about us is that we have got an engine and a motor which will go 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes past, the 90. And so when we got the opportunity and grabbed it with both hands, it was, it was literally purely beautiful.
Yeah, it's just such a good moment. I keep reliving it. I keep watching all the different angles and listening back to all the commentary. It's just it's moments like this are just what it's all about, Nathan. I mean, the game itself, you sort of summed it up quite tidy at the start there. Obviously, in the first half, it was a bit frustrating. We were really struggling to penetrate a West Brom side who, out of possession, was sitting back, and we weren't really finding a way through. We had the opportunity with a penalty, which we'll talk about shortly, but obviously we didn't take that. But second half, when they had their two big chances at the start of the second half, really, and a good save by Kaminsky for one of them. The other one was the chap on the edge of the box who sort of rushed his shot there, really, eyeing Julia and put it wide when he had a bit more time. And at that stage of the game, you're thinking, right, early second half, right, are they going to sort of put the pedal to the floor here a little bit, West Brom? But they didn't really. But so the game was there, it was even, it was there for the taking, and we brought on our trump card, Ibby Fuller. Like we people have been calling for it. They want to see, they've seen flashes. They really want to see what he's going to be like in the Championship. My word. To make that appearance in the your first appearance in the Championship, and to change the game like that, and even if you look at the move that led to the corner, from which we ended up scoring, that came from Ibby winning the ball in the middle of the park and playing a good ball, out to the left hand side. And TC, he made such a difference, and he along with all those players on the pitch deserved that moment at the end.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, like as you were saying, the first half was a bit meh, but I think that was a follow-on from Saturday. We just looked disjointed. I think the injuries disrupted us on Saturday, and we couldn't really get going. It was sort of similar there, losing two of, I know Reece Burke isn't like a mainstay or anything by any stretch, but losing two players and then you having to play people, O'Neill coming in, which I thought he done very well actually, and Hernandez. Still a different team, disrupted the rhythm a little bit. It was a bit disjointed the first half, but yeah, I think the changes that Ibby come on, we've all spoken about Ibby already. I think that enabled TC to come onto the ball a bit more. I think he was a lot more, the ball was coming into his feet with his back against the defender, but pushing him a bit deeper, he was being able to run onto the play, which is where we got that second goal. And yeah, I mean, as Mark said, West Brom didn't really do much. They were tidy. I think they were going to be very dangerous on when they come short, because they know when they drop short to receive the ball, especially that Hegabo or whoever it was, Jones was following him wherever he went. So it was about the transition and what goes in behind. But I thought we dealt with it all right as the game went on. But yeah, it's just those game changers. We knew we've had it all season. We've been blessed in terms of those attacking areas, and it was Ibby's chance to shine. And yeah, literally when he done that little, I don't even know what skill it was, just Maradona or something, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it's impressive. And to have the cojones to do that at 18 on your first Championship, do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to be very brave, and it's that fearlessness which he brought to the team. And he was more, like you say, he had a big involvement in the goal. But obviously we've just got to be careful that we don't get too excited and thinking that he's going to start every game and play that way every single game. I think he might do, but I'll be very surprised. So we've just got to be patient with him, because he's still a very, very young boy.
Yeah, and yeah, like that, like you said, that it's sort of a pirouette on the ball, if that's the right thing to call it. When he first came on, it was just outrageous, and even the pass after that, because it's always nice to see the skill like that, but actually then you want to see, right, what's he actually going to do with the ball after it? And then the ball he bent around for Leeburn was very, very good. I mean, as soon as you see that straight away, you think, yeah, excellent. As Joe says, full of confidence, full of skill, full of potential. I like it. Sam says he's definitely our wild card from the bench. Jay said Fuller proving once again why our academy is second to none. And Double J saying Ibby Fuller, wow, see what Nathan Jones meant by his interview the other day. Paul says the late goals aren't coming as a surprise anymore. We score so many late goals, as Mark says here. The never say die attitude from Nathan Jones and his side. Keepers going to the very last kick has got us 10 points this season, with 90 plus wins against Watford, Sheffield United and West Brom, and a draw against Hull as well. So it's turning 1 point into 3. So it's 2, 6, 7 points there, plus obviously the amount of goals we scored late, Mark, over the last couple of years is incredible, really. And you, as they say, I almost come to expect it now.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous road to go down, because when it doesn't happen, you're almost like doubly disappointed. I mean, like I say, I just think it shows the attitude which permeates from the manager and the coaches down. Because, you know, Nathan doesn't stop on that touchline. He's bouncing around like anything. I mean, I didn't actually see him running down the pitch to where they all celebrated. He was suddenly like he was beamed in from the Enterprise. Suddenly he was there, Sonny running across to hug him, and you know, then his turnaround and celebration. So it's one of the things. I'm talking about Ibby Fuller, and he's one of those players. And you're right, and I understand Nathan doesn't want to go, excuse me, too hard too soon with him. But when you see the potential of a young lad, and like Nathan says, fearless, absolutely fearless, wanting the ball. He was unlucky at the end of last season not to score. And but I just don't know how you're going to fit him into that system if you're not going to use him just as a game changer. That's the thing with that. Sorry.
I think there's he's not going to become a starter over the next few weeks. I think we'll put it that way. That's the way I see it. I think Nathan's been very careful with the way he's spoken about how you manage his potential, and you don't want to put too much pressure on him. So, but I'm going to do the opposite of that and say, like, if he can be as good as he was on Tuesday every week, then you find a way to fit him in the team. I guess that's the sort of thing. But like, let's not get carried away, as Nathan Muller said. Ed says it's not a pirouette, it's a Maradona. Well, it's my ballet route said that made me cool. Yeah, Isaac says wouldn't want a high five off the boy though. Yeah, we'll hear Nathan Jones' comments about how good Ibby Fuller is at high fiving later on in the show in a few minutes' time, Nath. But I mean, those celebrations, as Tash has pointed out, Nathan Jones rattling fan bases with his celebrations just before our visit to the circus on Saturday as well. But they're great scenes. I find myself getting fully caught up in the moment when you see the squad and the manager celebrating like that. Like we said it, we've got to say this quite a lot so far this season, but that's why we go. Like, I want moments like that.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we all love Nathan Jones. I know he's a bit Marmite for other teams and that, but I'd rather have that all day long. Even going back, do you remember when Guy Luzon done it? Like, I loved that. Like, and he had no affiliation with the club apart from being the manager for a little while, but I just love it. I'd rather that than just like some boring old bod just clapping and put his hands back in his pockets all day long. Like, but yeah, like you say, the celebrations were amazing, and it's just amazing how many heads Nathan lives rent free, and like it's just brilliant. Like I just mainly just go and look for the replies. Everyone call him every name under the sun. It just makes me smile. Like just to know that he's just living there, absolutely dossing off whatever on any fan. But I think a lot of people are coming around to him now. I've noticed a lot of people that hated him or found him annoying, they're coming around there going, do you know what? Like, fair play. Like the one where he's like standing on the hoarding boards, just like arms aloft. That's quality. Like that's exactly what you want. So yeah, that's brilliant. But I'll take it all day long over the other managers that we've had previously, which I'm not going to mention because it's in the past.
Yeah, Michael Appleton never managed Burton, did he? I was just trying to think if you can get your two favourite things to say in the show in one go, but no, I don't think he has managed Burton. He managed us against Burton. I remember that game. So if you want to slag him off at any point, Nathan, feel free to do so. Penalty we had in the first half. Going into 90 minutes, you think we're going to rue that. Leeburn won the header handball by Dear Kaite, I think it was. I think Greg hasn't taken a great amount of penalties in his career, judging by my research on Transfer Market. It's got to list him as taking none. Nathan actually looked this up for me during the game as well on his phone and found out that he took one in a penalty shootout for Hull against Leeds a few years ago. So maybe he's taken one sort of penalty in his life, maybe more that weren't on Transfer Market, but a few people, maybe it's easy with hindsight to say probably wouldn't have expected Greg to be the one who took it. But I mean, Nathan spoke about it briefly in his presser today about how he does them better in training. It was quite funny, his post-match interview where he said that penalty, that's not us. that's not the type of penalty we'd want to see. That wasn't the best penalty we've seen, Mark. I mean, who else would you have take one? Would you have Greg take another one? Would you put that down to just a bad day at the penalty office?
No, I think once you've missed one like that, if you're because we know like Matty Godden's for taker, if you've missed one like that, then it's up for someone else to step up. I mean, we've got some good. I mean, Sonny, he's you know, in the interview I heard him saying to you, you know, he backs himself. Bree's got a good strike. Gillespie, you know, the same kind of like number. Even like Conor Coventry, I think would take a good one. We know who doesn't take a great one. Didn't Doc take one pre-season against Dartford, and that wasn't convincing? If I remember rightly, that wasn't convincing. Their goalie got a hand to it, but it went in. So I know it doesn't really sort of count for the stats, but Doc's name was on the sheet, and Nathan reckons he can poke him away in training. That's fine. It was, you know, right height for their keeper, and their keeper had a very decent game. So it's one of those ones. It was a good save. It was a bad penalty, probably 50-50 on both. I think there's other players there who can strike a dead ball, and the three I mentioned I would go for first over Doc. But you know, fair play to him if he says, no, I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to score it. Because I can remember most of our penalty takers at some time, you know, missing them and carrying on and taking them again. So it's harsh after one miss. And in the end, it wasn't crucial. So I think if we'd ended up losing 1-0 or it was finished up 0-0, we'd be moaning a heck of a lot more about him missing it than saying, you know what, these things happen. You give 50% kudos to the keeper, 50% brickbats to Doc. Doc knows he could have buried that, so he doesn't need anyone giving him any grief. I mean, I'm sure Nathan mentioned it in passing at half-time to him, but the character of our skipper is that he goes out and he carries on leading the team. So his performance didn't drop any after that.
Yeah, and he's a very good character, Greg Doherty. So you wouldn't expect him to let that bother him too much. Andrew says he thinks Carey should have taken it. Sam says, yeah, Carey, Connor or Miles says the Doc penalty was poor. Yeah, Jake said powder puffy. I think that's how Nathan Jones described the penalty, a bit powder puff. It wasn't a great penalty, but we went on and won the game. Anyway, as Andrew says, so we're going to hear from Sonny Kerry later on, but not the whole interview. He did mention though when I spoke to him on Tuesday that there is an assigned list of players, and that's what it is. James says that Ethan's Nan should be ahead of Doherty on penalties. Yeah, quite a few people pointing out it wasn't the greatest penalty, but there we go. Things have happened. We won the game. That's all that matters. Let's hear from Nathan Jones, shall we? After Tuesday's game, on very, very good form as you'd expect. This is a brief excerpt of my chat with Nathan after the game.
This is West Bromwich Albion. They've either been, I've just said to the lads, they've either in the Premier League or top end, you know, challenging for promotion for the last 10, 12, whatever, however long it's been. And I thought we were excellent tonight, apart from the odd counter-attack, the odd bit of individual brilliance, because they have fantastic individuals. I thought we were excellent. And I felt that we just had to believe a little bit more. I mean, the penalty, you know, we should score the penalty, we should be up. And then their keeper's made a world-class save from Sonny Kerry. I mean, a world-class save. And then nothing wrong with the 94th, 95th minute winner.
I can see you enjoying it with your players as well and the fans. Another great moment here at the Valley.
It's wonderful. And you've got to enjoy them moments. You know, I said to Sonny at the end, go and enjoy it. If you don't, you know, you don't often get whatever it is, 17, 20,000 singing your name and thing. And just wonderful night, but thoroughly deserved as well. I thought we had real control. I thought we finished strong, made subs at the right time. The subs came on and gave us a massive impetus late on, and I just, you know, it would have been a travesty if we didn't win it, and definitely if we, you know, if they had nicked something at the end.
And Sonny Kerry loves to have a pop from outside the area as well. At that time of the game, it's all or nothing really at that point. Go for it.
Well, he's a positive player. He's front foot. Everything he does, every touch he has is forward. Every pass he makes is forward. Every run he makes is forward. Every shot zings or makes someone test something and stuff. It's been an absolute revelation. It's why we brought him to the football club and that. And I mean, I said the first one the keeper saved. I got to be honest with you. You will not see a better save than that for a long time. It zinged through body, zipped up, bounced right before, and he's managed to get a hand on it. It's world-class save. And that's what it's taken. He was their man of the match. He saved a pen. He's saved a Sonny Kerry thing, and then, you know, I'm just glad he didn't say the last one.
The outstanding form continues as well. I know the fans are getting ready to get carried away. You're still sort of trying to keep a cool head when you look at the table.
Why you get carried away? You just, every game, because the football has a habit of punching you on the nose. Every single game, you've just got to do the basics really well. You've got to keep moving forward. And then, look, if we're in this position after 45 games, then yeah, you get carried away. But at the minute, we're not. We're not. And we're in a good place. They're giving me everything. I mean, you look at Onel Hernandez coming in for his first game today, out of position, doing a wonderful, wonderful job. You look at Ibi Fuller coming on. Wonderful night.
And I wanted to ask about Ibi because all the subs made a difference, but for Ibi in particular coming into that game, I mean, he was outstanding for you.
18-year-old kid. 18-year-old kid making his full debut in the Championship. I think he had a bad touch, I don't think he had a bad moment, and lifted everyone. You could see the crowd respond. That's what I love about this football club. You know, when they see a young player coming on through the academy, they lift everyone and it gave everyone a buzz, and he did. And I said, go on, light the place up. That's exactly what he did.
So you said a few weeks ago that if he got into the team, he probably wouldn't come out, and that's why, I guess, performances like that, the confidence for an 18-year-old.
It's just, look, I said a tongue-in-cheek thing, and we have to curtail the interview a little bit, because I said, look, I probably hold him back slightly, but what we're doing is managing him. If we chuck him in too early and it doesn't happen for him, then look, some kids, it knocks him back. Not this kid. I mean, this kid is frightening. I mean, I love him. Absolutely love him the way he is. I mean, just everything about him. He comes, he high fives me every day, and he slaps me. Like, he wants to hurt me with a slap. That's just the mentality that he has in his mind. He wants it, and he's been patient. He's been thinking every day. He lights the place up. I mean, he does something truly magical every single day. So it's just about when do you put him in, and then we just felt tonight was the right one.
There we go. Ibi Fuller, brave man, goes around slapping Nathan Jones as hard as possible at the training ground. Nathan, I mean, the noise that Nathan Jones made about Ibi, I mean, it's X-rated. That was. It was incredible. Like, there's obviously a lot to come from him. Like, let's not say, right, he's got to start every week now. He's 18. You know, he's full of confidence. Let's not knock that, but it's very exciting to have a player like that in your squad, isn't it? Especially one who can go around high five. I mean, if we get into any fights and we need someone to slap someone, it sounds like he's the man for the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first heard that, I don't even know what to call it. I suppose just a little grunt or noise or whatever from Nathan Jones. I thought, well, Louis got his little voice note for the Christmas party sorted out. If someone gets a question right, so well, that one to look forward to over and on repeat. It's just a bit weird. It sounds like some sort of dodgy show, like. Yeah, I won't say the name of the show I'm talking about because I don't know if we're allowed to. But yeah, no, with Ibi, like I think someone said earlier, like a wild card. I think someone said, and do you know what? It's exactly that. And then you look at it from last season. Last season was Chuks and Ike, and now we could potentially have Ibi Fuller, which are completely two different profiles of players. But as you say, like to have that option in your team. It also offers a bit of an unpredictability, not only from him himself that we don't know what he's going to do because he's a kid, he's fearless, and he's just do something off the cuff. If you're an opposing manager, because if you're on Tuesday, whether it was a Maradona or a pirouette, whatever it was, as soon as he'd done that, Ryan Mason made a change on that right hand side, if I remember rightly, literally straight after, because he thought, right, okay, well, we might be in a bit of bother now. We've got him and we've got TC all on that one side. Then that might to shore it up. But yeah, I mean, to have that in your team is going to be unbelievable. But yeah, it's easy to get carried away, and obviously we all want him to do well and be amazing. But at the same time, we just want to make sure it's right for him. And because I've seen it, a lot of fans might not remember it, but he played on Tuesday, Carlin. I remember when Carlin first came in, and he was like, it took him a while to settle in. Joe Pigott and the likes of that. So we just need to be very, very careful.
Yeah, I'm always very wary. Yeah, like I mean, I think we nearly ruined Joe Pigott's career at the start of it with that game against Millwall where he came in too young. Powell says, "Show graph or we riot." We're above the playoff line again, so 23 points as it stands. Points per game, we're going for 75.5, 75.6, which is above the playoff line. Mark, I asked Nathan about us fans getting ready to get carried away. He gave a very sensible answer, but we picked up a little bit of noise actually. I noticed the other day on one of the forums for talking about playoffs. But at what stage are we allowed to talk about them then? Because I mean, it is very early, but the side, even with the injuries so far, haven't really let off. At some point, you'd expect with injuries that maybe it would let off a little bit, but so far they've got me dreaming, which is a nice place to be in. I'm not one of those people that would be disappointed if we didn't get to the playoffs, and I don't think anyone would be. But it's nice to dream, isn't it? I'm quite bored of dreaming of beating Burton Albion away from home, Mark. So it's quite nice to actually dream about maybe getting into the playoffs. So let's have a little few moments thinking about that and making Nathan Jones's noise.
Well, I like the way you dream about Burton Albion. I dream about Dua Lipa and a giant bowl of custard, but that's probably the difference between us. I don't know, because we want to temper our expectations to say, look, we know it's a difficult league. When we came up, we had the momentum from the game, but we were also behind everyone else in terms of picking up players. But then you look at the players we picked up. We picked up Sonny very early. Then, Apter came to join him. And every now and then there was a drip feed of players coming in. And I think we looked at it and went, he's not half bad. He's not half bad. Even when, James Bree came in so late, we thought, you know what, over 200 games experienced in the league. He knows Jones. He's solid. That's a kind of player we need to be picking up if we want to progress. Now, it's crazy to say, you look at the position where we are now and you go, right, if we're there with 5 games to go, then, yeah, I think dreamland. And like Nathan said, the game can punch you on the nose. So if, tempt fate, Lloyd gets sent off Saturday for having a punch up with Kiefer Moore, and we're going to be short of a centre half for 3 games because obviously Burke and Bell aren't going to be back, and then you're going to go, right, now we're going to be seeing it and stretching it, because we did think after the injuries we picked up. But I disagree slightly with people saying about Anel Hernandez. He tried, but a couple of times he was up against a 22-year-old, and he's quick, Hernandez, and that's what probably really saved him. But you could see a lot of his positioning where he was just looking around, just not knowing where to be. And I'm thinking, if we can get to January and we can carry on a steady course, so, a solid line between now and when the window opens, and even we've dropped down to 10th, 12th, and we can pick up a few more decent players like we know we need, then I think you can look to it. And we know second half of the season, we're a way better side last year. There's nothing to say that, we won't. When Godden comes back and Kelman's back, and we know there's goals there. So there's so many potential green shoots, but it has to be tempered with a tiny dose of reality. And it's the beginning of November, so I understand. But I guarantee you, Nathan's probably got this graph in his office in some sort of form, probably not copied from you, but, where they thought they would be with a points per game thing. And I would be very surprised if he didn't have it very similar to where we are in actual reality.
Dragon says sales of custard are reported to have plummeted in the last 5 minutes. We will never talk about what Mark said again, thankfully. Right, well, let's hear from Sonny Carey. Quite a few people point out, actually, we haven't really spoken about the injuries. Obviously, Charlie Kelman missing out on Tuesday night. So we'll talk about that a bit more. I think maybe after we've heard from our Wrexham correspondent as well, because there's still loads to talk about. But I want to hear from Sonny Carey. Just a fantastic moment for him again on Tuesday night. I had a quick catch up with him after the game.
Didn't know where to run, and then I've turned and just seen the gaffer, so I just thought, I'm going to head for him. But no, it was a great moment. When we score last minute, Sheffield United away, when we got one late then, and everyone celebrating together, all the staff and the players and all that. It's just a great feeling.
It must mean something to you as well to see the manager has that same passion and excitement, because not all managers are like that when late goals go in.
Yeah, no, I love him. The passion that he has is unmatched, for the football club and for everything. I think I've seen before when we've scored and, he's standing on the advertising boards and stuff. But no, when a goal goes in, you lose control of your emotions, and it's great to see.
He's shown real belief in you as well. He's given you that starting berth that you've obviously kept all season. He brought you to the football club in the first place as well. And what was it like to work for him?
Yeah, great. I think this is probably the most I've enjoyed my football. I love it, coming in every day. It's a great group of lads, a great manager, great staff. So, yeah, I'm loving it.
Did you make of the game as a whole?
Yeah, I thought we deserved to win. West Brom were obviously a good established Championship side, so we knew it was going to be a tough game. I thought we had the better chances. They had a little spell, where they kept the ball more, but we knew that, they're a possession-based team, and we knew that they were going to have good spells. But no, I thought we deserved to win, and it was good to get the win.
The form is superb at the moment. I've climbed back into the top 6 and up 5th, I think, if that's correct. What are you thinking is possible now? Because this isn't just a good start now; it's continued, hasn't it?
I think what the gaffer says is bang on. He says anything's possible. With the belief we have in the squad and the togetherness that we have, I do truly believe anything is possible. But we're not getting carried away. We're taking it game by game. We've got another tough game. We've got to go away to Wrexham, and then we've got the international break. But like you said, things are going well at the minute, and we're in good form. Yeah, and Wrexham obviously a tough nut to crack. We went there as a side towards the end of last season before you joined, and it was a bit of a heavy defeat in the end. We know how good they can be on their day. Yeah, I think every team in the Championship's good. There's no easy games. You name any of the 23, 24 teams, they're all good. So there's no easy games, but we know that if we're on it, we can beat anyone, and I think we've proved that this season. There is one more I wanted to ask, actually, about your song. I know you've heard it. I don't know if you've had many offers, but I mean, it's a fun one. It's a fun one to listen to. It's a bit of a Charlton classic, that one. Yeah, no, I think it's sort of sticking a bit, but no, listen, I love hearing it at the end of the game today. I had a little smile on my face, and I'm walking around and giving them a clap. But the fans are unbelievable. Nearly 20,000 again here on a Tuesday night. We can't thank them enough. I've said this before. They're our 12th man, so we appreciate them all. There we go, Sonny Carey after his goal against West Brom during the week. James says that anything is possible apart from Mark and Dua Lipa in a bowl of custard. Right, we'll have a quick break. When we come back, we will start to turn our attention to Saturday's trip up to Wrexham.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the River. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. This is the big match preview. We've been looking back at Tuesday's late 1-0 win against West Bromwich Albion at the Valley. Now it's time to turn our attention to Saturday's trip up to the Circus to take on Wrexham in the Championship. Delighted to say that we're joined by Andy from Fearless in Devotion to talk about the Red Dragons. Andy, good to see you again. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds perfect, mate. Thanks for coming on this evening to tell us a little bit about Parky's side. How would you sum up your start to the season so far? Obviously, goal the straw at Portsmouth last night. Not losing many games, not winning many either. I've sensed that Parky's been under a bit of pressure over the last few weeks. Is that fair?
No, not over the last couple of weeks. It's stabilised a little bit. There was a bit of criticism after we lost to Cardiff in the Carabao Cup, but the good thing about Parky is if he has a defeat, he backs it up with a win. And like we beat unbeaten Coventry on Friday night, and it was a brilliant performance from us, real up and at them. It's what we've been missing at home. We've not had many like that. It's a completely new team. They spent 33 million. I think there's probably about 2 or 3, including George Dobson actually, who have made it through from the League One side. I would say we probably overachieved by going up last season, and I think we knew it was going to be a massive overhaul of the squad, and I think we're still gelling. But the good thing about Parky's teams are that they are tough to beat, and we were tough to beat last night. And we came away with a draw. So, win your home games, draw your away games. Everyone's happy.
Has there been a bit of a burden of expectation this year? Because I guess realistic fans will see that you've come up from the National League into the Championship in 3 seasons and think, at some point you're not going to keep steamrolling through divisions. But obviously, with all the attention and whatnot that comes with the situation at the club, I guess there might be maybe even some newer fans who just get so used to winning that when you have a sort of a mid-table start to the season, they can't compute it. What have fans expected at the start of this campaign?
I mean, you're not wrong on the statement there. Maybe some of the newer fans are used to winning, and when it doesn't happen, they can be a little bit more vocal. What I would say about American fans is they're incredibly positive about everything. So even if we're losing, it's like, no, leave Parky alone. Come on, he's done so well for us.
So annoying.
And I end up fighting with them in YouTube comments because they're saying, well, how dare you boo and be so annoyed that you didn't beat Cardiff? But that's the Welsh derby and it's bragging rights, and not winning that game really hurt a lot of people. It's not just not winning it was just the way that we didn't win it, which was a very lackluster performance. We didn't really lay a glove on them. But as I said, look, coming back and doing so well in the league, I think we've stabilised there. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think there's been a championship team that's absolutely steamrolled at us. They're all much of a muchness. You can win or lose any game at this level. We've all got pretty good players who can turn the match on their day. Even though we're still sort of finding our feet, I don't think the expectation was that we would go up again. I think fans from all over the world thought that this would be a season of stabilisation, and as long as we didn't go down, then maybe we could build again next season. I think we don't have a training ground. We don't have a 4-sided stadium at the moment. We're sort of rushing through the leagues, but there's a lot of infrastructure off the pitch that needs to be sorted out. Doesn't make for a great documentary, that though, does it?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I agree with your point there about the other teams in the league. The only team that I thought were going to steamroll it was Coventry, and then you sorted them out the other week. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting league. But in terms of Saturday, if there's anyone listening that's not really looked or watched many of the clips of Wrexham, how does Parky set up? Because obviously you look at Kiefer Moore straight away, and naturally you think it's just going to be a long ball game, which I know obviously Wrexham are a lot better than that. But how is Parky set up so far this year in terms of all the new signings bedding in?
Look, Parky doesn't move away from his 3-5-2. All he's done is buy better players to play it. So if you think that Ollie Palmer was our focal point for so long, well, now it's Kiefer Moore, and you would say that Kiefer Moore is an upgrade on Palmer. He's got a little bit more about him. He's a little bit more skillful. He's still a handful. He's still that sort of battering ram up front, but he's got a little bit more of his all-round game. The other key thing is the wing backs to us are so important, and I think James McLean, who was our first choice left wing back last season, it's tough for him at his age to come back up into the Championship. He hasn't played as much. Ryan Barnett and Ryan Longman, they've been superseded by Issa Kabore, who's come in from Manchester City. On the other side, we had Longman for a little bit because we couldn't get our Serie A signing, Liberato Cacace, fit, which is a guy who sounds the most Italian fella in the world, but is actually a Kiwi from Wellington. But he's played the last couple of games and he gives us great natural balance. And I'm just hoping that we can keep Kabore and Cacace fit either side, because that's vital to how we play. Parky doesn't move away from what's worked for him. So you know what you're going to get on Saturday at the racecourse.
Hey Andy, if you look at the table, we've got Coventry just scoring goals for fun. You've got Sheffield United and Norwich propping up the bottom. It's a bit of an odd table, and obviously yourselves and Birmingham went up, and all the talk was about you, and we were amongst the bookies' favourites to be, battling relegation, and people were saying, we're not even going to get 10 points. Does it surprise you when you've looked into the league and you see how far up we've actually managed to get and how achieve, or is it you just thinking it's on the day anyone can actually beat anybody?
I'm a little surprised, but I'm delighted for you because you haven't gone in and changed the whole squad around like we have. I suppose that continuity has stood you in good stead. I think it's 6 starters from last season in the team now. So well done to you. You've managed to keep that nucleus together and gone on. Maybe we ask, can you keep this run going? I don't know, but good luck to you for doing that. I suppose it sort of gives people who come up from League One hope that you can do that. That you don't have to completely throw the baby out with the bathwater and spend 33 million on a completely new side like we have. That you can sort of bring the nucleus of a promotion-winning team up, add to it, and still be successful.
And just finally, then, Andy, I mean, one of the things I really enjoyed about our trip up to the racecourse last season, obviously it wasn't a great result for us, but I just loved the hostility of the place. Like, having never been there before, and I didn't know what to expect, and maybe even I got caught up in it's going to be like a Disney film or something. Like, it was a proper football ground, a proper away day for us, and a lot of that was obviously aimed at Nathan Jones based on the comments from the sort of the mistimed, maybe slightly taken out of context comments about the circus last year, which everyone had a lot of fun with. But I mean, can we expect the same on Saturday? Are they still talking about that up there?
Not as much. No, not as much. I think that was a good focal point for a match we really needed to win. So it was a good thing to sort of hang everything off. Really, there's not the same vitriol there that there was then. I think we sort of gave you a lesson in that game, and I think it's what we needed. He gave us the fire that we perhaps needed to get us through that match, and I think that's died down a little bit now. As regards to the crowd, look, it's a smaller crowd than it will be last term, just because we've lost one of the stands. So instead of like 13,500, it's going to be about 10,500. There's been actually some sort of worry about the atmosphere. They've moved a few people around. There's a ballot system which is aiming to get new people in each week. And sometimes the atmosphere suffers because of that. But I think also we didn't know where we were as a team in the Championship, and it's quite hard to sort of know what you're shouting for. Are you going to be in a relegation battle? Is it going to be mid-table? Are you going for the playoffs? And I think we've sort of stabilised now, and I think we know where we are in the sort of grand scheme of things. I think we're a mid-table team that could, with a run, push towards the playoffs, but I think there's a lot of other teams in that sort of mold, including yourselves.
Lovely stuff. That's excellent, Andy. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to what you got to get on with. So cheers for coming on.
Cheers, guys.
There we go. That's Andy joining us to give us the Wrexham perspective from Fearless in Devotion. Just before we hear from Nathan Jones, actually, I disagree. Stuart says he thought Parky was poor for us. I thought Parky did a pretty good job for us, and in pretty trying circumstances. Andrew says he never had a chance. He even had to put his hand in his pocket to get a player in. So you remember, if I remember rightly, Nathan, was it Gary Borrell that he helped to pay a loan fee for or something? Imagine that. Imagine
I think it was him.
Yeah, you put your hand in your pocket, and that's what you end up with. You'd be asking for your money back at some point, wouldn't you? Disappointing. Right, let's hear from Nathan Jones ahead of the trip up to Wrexham. It starts off with his fully informative, as you'd expect, injury update on some of the lads.
I mentioned injuries, and obviously we've added Reece Burke, Amari Bell, and Charlie Coleman to the ones we've already picked up. Is there anything you can update us on those players and how they are? And will the international break allow you to have the time for any of those to come back?
Well, they're a week closer than what they would like, and the international break will, anyone that has picked up an injury, the international break gives them a little bit of respite, and it gives us a bit of time to get work into some and to build a bit more recovery into others. Look, how quickly whether any one of those will be back for Saturday, we'll have to wait and see. But at this point, as you said, the time is a great healer, and that's probably what one or two of them need.
Wrexham away on Saturday, 8 places difference between us, but only 5 points, which gives an indication of how tight the Championship is. We know from last season how tough it can be, and there will be a test, no doubt. But does playing them last season give us any advantage?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, we know how they play. They know how we play. It was two very tough fixtures, against them last year. It was a real tough fixture here. Away, look, we were a little bit depleted away from home. The sort of the exertions of the week before cost us really with Bears, with Lloyd, with a few going down and stuff. So look, it's a tough championship game. Once again, you go away in the championship, doesn't matter where you go. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday are bottom of the league at the minute and things, but you don't go to Hillsborough thinking, right, we're going to get 3 points and stuff. So every single game is really tough, and it's going to be a tough. Is there an edge between the two? I don't think so. I think we just obviously played last year. They got promoted, so did we. And we're looking forward to the fixture.
There you go. That's Nathan Jones. We're going to head to Saturday's trip up to Wrexham. Obviously, a side we know well, having played them last season, Nathan, towards the end of the campaign. I mean, that's not really a good barometer, that game at the end of last year, because we had injuries in certain positions. Although the only other thing you could say is we've got exactly the same this year, I guess. Yeah, we didn't really talk about the fact. So in the build up to Saturday, obviously we knew that Burke and Bell were going to be out. Then Kelman, there were some big rumours the day before, and I'm interested to what people in the chat think. I mean, everyone loves it when they know something that you're not supposed to know, and you hear something. But in some lines of work, you hear a lot of information about stuff, but you know when not to share it. So, for example, if one of our strikers is out injured, and I knew about that, I would absolutely not go tweeting it under the assumption that someone else might see it who we don't want to see it. And I don't know, if you're a fan and you hear that one of your players is injured, like, it's great to know stuff, but maybe sometimes don't tell everyone. Maybe tell your mate, but say, actually, don't tell West Bromwich Albion that our players are injured, because they might try and change something. Like, I don't know how you feel about that. But anyway, we got to play with no Kelman, I'm guessing. We got to play with no Burke and no Bree. That's the assumption based on the fact they were injured on Saturday. So Hernandez came in, Leeburn started. There's a lot of selection decisions there for Nathan to make. Where do you want to start? In the Hernandez role? Will he start again for you?
I don't think we've got much choice really. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting TC out there away from home. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it. I'm sure they'll, or Ibi, I'm sure they'll do as much as they can to play well. But for me, I just think the experience of Hernandez, left foot, does have a pace. Issa Kabore is a very good player. So whoever's going to play there is going to have a job on their hands, and they need to be quick. So it would make sense that Hernandez plays there. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of limited what he can do at the moment. We don't really have any sort of fringe players who can play that sort of left wing back role. So, but I know now Hernandez hasn't played many minutes, so I don't know if he's going to be able to go again, or he certainly won't be able to do 90. So that's the one I can imagine it's going to happen. I mean, I don't want Maka out there. I think Maka's better in that free. I don't want him playing left wing back, and I can't see us changing shape, especially against the Parky 5-3-2 as well. So it's whoever performs well in the wider areas will win the game on Saturday. That's where it's going to be won. So it depends how brave Nathan's going to be, doesn't it, away from home? Yeah,
that's my thought as well. Because I thought Hernandez going forward, Mark, and I know you sort of mentioned you're worried about maybe the defensive side of the game on Tuesday night, but at the same time, like the ability he showed in that first half when he won that corner early on, a couple of runs, he had a shot near the edge of the box that got blocked. I mean, I just think maybe there's something there on the break away from home. Charlton saying, "Come on, Lou, it's not war. It's why we had squads to decide." I understand the sentiment, but living behind secrecy is stressful for all concerned. But I mean, Nathan Jones doesn't want the team news out there, so why on earth would we share it? If Nathan thinks there's a tactical advantage to having the other team not know who's injured or stuff, then why on earth would we as fans want to break that? But yeah, sorry, coming back to Hernandez, Mark, I mean, would you, I mean, if not him, then who else would you put there?
No, going forward, he's a lovely joy to watch. You know, he wants to get the tricks in, he wants to get the crosses, and let's say have a shot. There isn't that. Possibly I would be more tempted to put Ramsey on that side, only for the fact that he is more of a defender. Have Bree on the right side of the three and have Apter. That's where I would go. And so Apter's got a good engine, and we can sort of like, if they're going to play 5 in midfield and you've got Apter on one side and you've got Ramsey on the other, I think there's options. I think it's a defender, like Nathan says, the guy they've got that side is really decent. And Kiefer Moore, after his hat trick against Coventry the other day, is exactly the player I love to see Lloyd up against, because it's going to be a battle from minute one. He's good in the air, but Lloyd's impeccable. It's going to be one of those ones. Keep him quiet. I think you keep Wrexham quiet. Then you just want the midfield in front of you, the Docks, Covs, Careys picking up the balls, driving on, and when we can turn them round, get behind them, because they do concede goals. And like the lad said, they've spent 33 million because they want to do the same, cut and paste thing, which is buy players from the league above to get you out of the league you're in. But the Championship is a whole different biscuit to League One and League Two. There's lots and lots of good international players in this league and good experienced Prem players. So you cannot do that cut and paste thing. And he said about Parky, and Parky was one of the favourites to get the sack. And every time they lose, he looks like he's packing his bag. And I think we were 5th or 6th in the league when Parky was sacked from us. And I think at the time, even though it was a weird one, he does tend to think the world's on his shoulder against him. Everything likes to bring up how unfair it is. They're spending 33 million on a squad, so he can't really throw that at them. I think hard work, effort, and the thing which Jones drills into our side can be a complete positive. And like I say, if he's going to play O'Neill there, fine, because he's going to give us more of an attacking threat, and we will get chances, we will get opportunities. But I think I'd personally just like to see a defender on that side. And I know it's not Ramsey's preferred position, but I think for the sake of a team, having that, and working that way will make us slightly safer at the back.
I mean, there's some really good points being made in the chat, as there always are. But Ed and Robert are asking about Joe Rankin Costello. Ed saying maybe play him right back and move Breed to the left hand side, or what you on in the wing back roles. And Robert's saying, yeah, it's interesting. He never gets a mention. That is 100% true. We never mention him, which is interesting because he's an established Championship player, very much in the Amari Bell established sort of role, as in like he's played a lot of games of the Championship, and Amari came and has looked class. So there's no reason why Joe Rankin Costello can't do that. I think for me, it's because I don't know officially what his position would be if he were to come in, because he is so versatile and he has the ability to play a few different roles. Because of that, I don't think in my head I've given him a role for him to come and slot in. So maybe I think that's actually a really good point, that he might well be the answer, because he can play in a few different places, Nathan, and Nathan Jones might think, right, this is the perfect time for him to get a start now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bundles of experience as well, so it could be one. Yeah, he could go out on the right, and as Mark said, Kano could come out on the left, and it gives you that little bit more defensive solidity away from home. The only thing is, the only thing I was worrying about is because I thought maybe Rankin Costello was going to get some sort of game in the middle at some point, because I think last time we played 3 in a week, Coventry didn't start against, I can't remember who it was against now, but he didn't play 3 in a week, and he played the last 2, isn't he? So playing 3 in a week, but we have got the international break after this, so he might just let it sort of ride out for one more game. But Rankin Costello's a good shout. Wouldn't be against that. He's played on the right-hand side, played in the middle, so he can play in most positions. So it's a good one. But yeah, Hernandez will be, I could understand why Nathan would do it, but I would also understand if he went down the route that Mark's just said and put Kano out there and just be more of a solid base and defenders against that Issa Kabore. Because otherwise, if you put Hernandez there, you're literally going to be attack v attack, and it's whoever stays the highest, because it's going to be a game of chicken, isn't it? You go, who's going to blink first and drop, because they both going to want to stay high. So it's just going to be an interesting game. Yeah, up top then, Leeburn came in to start on Tuesday night. Mark, what are the other options? Who would take alongside TC? Is the assumption who would you be starting?
I'd be starting Leeburn defensively for his height, attacking at set pieces. I think him and TC, it is really the only option up front. I don't think Tanto has looked a threat. I know he scored against Sheffield United, but there's with him, I think they obviously still need to work on him to get him firing. Whether he thought he was going to sign and come in and be a starter right at the beginning, don't know. But Nathan's was very clear at the very beginning of the season. It's a squad. You need a squad, and you have to be prepared to have players who say, "Hey, I'm in the squad." And if you're not in the team, that you're not pouting, as it were. He's a threat, and we know what he's got. But I think possibly because of his physicality and everything, maybe keep him as one of the game changers. If you've got Berry on there, maybe Karoy's going to come back onto the bench. And I wasn't saying about Apter on the left. I was thinking Apter on the right and moving sort of like them across. But it's difficult up front. I think as long as we know, if they give Sonny half a yard, he'll have a pop. And with Bree putting him in on the other side, if you've got Lieben up there, I think he's due a goal. And I'd start with him and TC because I just think that will give us the best defensive and attacking option at the same time.
Excellent stuff. Right, some headaches then for Saturday. Russell said he thought Lieben was poor on Tuesday, so there's no way he should start. Only Tanto and TC are the option. Funny enough, I thought TC was, until Fuller came on, I thought that was probably the quietest and they've been. But I thought that the front two were ineffective in the first half, particularly. Until the last 20 minutes, we didn't really, that's the way it seemed to play out on Tuesday. But hey ho, let's see what happens on Saturday. It's a new game. It's a new start. Let's try and follow on with our excellent form. Right, thanks for everyone who's joined us live on the show this evening. Yeah, Nibs is getting a mention as well in the chat. He's another option, of course. We will be back on Sunday. But in the meantime, don't forget to check out our merch store, charltonlive.etsy.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and wherever else you see the pod as well, so you never miss another show. It'll be Sunday 10 a.m. when we'll be looking back to the game. Back at the game against Wrexham, so make sure you join us. But for now, Nathan, Mark, please no more liquid desserts mentioned for now. But thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Do you know what though? Like, I ain't gonna lie. As soon as Mark did mention that last bit, I did go in like a soft focus, thinking about custard. And then I remember if I think of this any longer, then I'm gonna start thinking of Mark, and I'm about to eat my dinner. No offense, mate, but so that's why I stopped. But I don't think I can look at custard ever again and do a leaper. I might do that after. See what happens. Have a good one, lads.
You already can't look at Mark, can you? So we'll leave it there. Right, I'm Louis Mendez. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. Thanks to everyone who joined us this evening. We'll see you again on Sunday.